Biker News Canada with Bob over there because there's a story. We'll let some people get in here first, but there's a story coming out of Canada, and Bob has all the best info when it comes to what's going on up there because he's from Canada, and he's in that scene. So, how's everybody doing? I see T Rex in here, Tommy Thunder, Thunder Gang. What's up, Charlie Mike? Everything is mellow in Stocktown. That's what's up. Definitely hit that like, subscribe, all of that. The Wi-Fi has been a little iffy lately. I don't know what's going on with it, but we've had a lot of storms lately too. So hopefully it doesn't like knock it out or anything. Herb Diz, what's up, bud? Got a lot going on. A lot going on in the background, really. Also, stuff I can't talk about quite yet, or may never talk about, just depending on how it all plays out. But we've had a busy week of phone calls going on for sure. Nordic Wave, what's going on, man? Yeah, I know. I've been slacking, but I had Scar start school on Tuesday, so we had to go do all that shopping, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just been kind of more family week than it has anything else with me and Scar. Getting her ready for school, going broke really is what I did. But it's that time of year where if you're a parent, you have a kid in school, you're going broke. No, I see you. Isaac, it's good to see you, brother. What's up, Colin? Dago FTW, think I know who you are. Salute to you, sir, if you are indeed who I think you are. What's happening in Northern Cali? A lot. A lot. 530 nameless. Um, I'll get to that. I don't know if I'm gonna get to that tonight, but there is a lot going on up there right now. As you guys have all met, Crusher, uh, who was a Mongol who started his channel, Rolling with Crusher. It's more his story to tell when it comes from that camp and what's going on up there. The 81 are still garbage pail kids. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it real. Mark W, what's up, bro? Good to see you in here. I missed you. But and now there's a new player in that whole area, but I'm not ready to speak past that. But it's getting crazy up there. So, what's up, Joey? I see you, bro. If y'all want some tattoos, man, that dude does banger tattoos. Hit him up. All right, so let's see. All right, let's start with this. There is a hearing coming up on the 18th for Rain Man, John, Brian Went, Rusty, and Ray Ray. Um, from what I understand, and I have it from pretty good source, that they'll be moving them, the ones that are in the feds at least right now in Atwater and Victorville USPs, respectively. They're going to be moving them so they'll be in court live. The hearing is an evidentiary hearing, and the men have already been told not when they'll be moved, but that they will be moved from the prison yard to go and be in the courtroom, which everything's lining up to. They're all going to end up getting a new trial. It's looking like uh, everything has fallen apart for the government, which I mean, the government wasn't really doing them any justice by putting an admitted liar on the stand and withholding evidence that somebody else had done what they were charging them with and things like that. So we'll have to see. It's going to be open. What's up, Savage Sev? My boy, that's my homie right there from Denver. Also has a YouTube channel. You guys go check out Savage Sev. Insane. Well, what's up, Mike? I see you. Another channel to go check out, Insane Wheels with Mike Ball. He talks. He's my geopolitical guy, man. Anytime I need to unwind and see what's going on in the world. Mike Ball's where I go check that out. Cal Canada, salute to you, sir. It's been a minute. It's good to see you in here. All right. Fred, salute to you too. So that's what's going on with Rain Man, John, Rusty, and the rest. Merle has a court date the next day, and it looks like neither one of these court dates are under seal, which is good because then I don't have to rely so much on somebody who's in the courtroom to tell me, or somebody who's in the courtroom to tell somebody to tell me. You know how that always ends up. Instead, I can hear for myself what's going on in this court date and try to discern it for you guys a little bit better. And hopefully it's good news. Hopefully they are getting a new trial. And if they're guilty, they'll be found guilty. If they're innocent, hopefully that will prevail. The government is on notice to do it the right way, or maybe they just drop everything with the evidentiary hearing, because Robbie Huff's wife came forward and said that Robbie said he did it. Hey, it's years after trial and indictment. I don't know. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Now, I'm hearing, and I've heard it from independent sources on the East Coast and the West Coast, that Joe, the Sergeant at Arms, the West Coast Sergeant at Arms for the Hells Angels out of Alaska, tough guy, left the club. Now, I mean, he's been the West Coast Sergeant at Arms, so I don't know what happened. I don't know if I'm really going to dig into that either. He's not out bad or anything. He wasn't thrown out of the club. He left the club. I don't know. Maybe you hate to even speculate on something like that, but the guy is tough as nails from what I understand. And now, the West Coast is going to have to pick a new sergeant. And I mean, there's some good candidates, I guess, but we'll have to see how that plays out. An evidentiary hearing is like a mini trial. The prosecutor is going to show everything they will present in trial, and the judge will determine what they will allow and what they won't. There you go. The more you know, and that's from somebody who has gone through this process before when it comes to federal indictments, MC federal indictments. So that's where my expert witnesses got kicked to the curb. That's right. Damn, they kicked your expert witnesses to the curb? Yours? Oh, damn. That's you hate to see that happen. That's when you know it's all bad. Goat, what's up? So I don't know what's going on with Joe from Alaska. Everything I've ever heard about the guy, I think me and Breezy even touched on talking about him before, is he's one of those. He's a hog, right? So I hope everything's going good in his life, and is, like I said, I'm not going to speculate on why he left the club. But there's also in the rumor mill now, I'm not going to say that this is 100% true, but I've also heard it from two independent sources, right? A member of Myrtle Beach, 81, possibly got freaky with some dude and well, with his wife and some dude same time type. Cool. We just call that a party, right? Until from what I'm understanding, the wife got mad at the husband, brought video of him with the guy, and presented it to Myrtle Beach, and he got thrown out. Like I said, I'm working really hard, but it's coming from good sources. So there's talk about two different ways to get put out of the club. Uh, but this, not for nothing. This just happened months ago, like a year ago, with Tony, the president of Wallkill, when his members put together something to ambush him and kick him out. Same type of illicit evidence that they were, but this is the wife. This is far different. Now I don't know that it to be true, like I said, but Joker Smoker was good with you, buddy. Yeah. Village people style business. There you go. Who said that? Yeah. Deal. Yeah. I'm telling you right now. That's just, hey, that's not my scene. Shabazz, what's good, homie? Dave, I see you. Yeah, bro. What are you supposed to do about that? I know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to throw his ass the hell out. But so a lot's been going on in North Carolina lately. The secretary for Wilmington left, and nobody wants to be the secretary. So now they're trying to pull in to seat their table, basically. And then Fayetteville's all under indictment or taking plea deals on the indictment for the Dairy Queen incident. And, I mean, there's other things playing right now too when it comes to Wilmington. They're really they're not they're looking bad. Basically, through Wilmington's room, and I'm only going to speak a little bit on this. There's a legend from the club, and it's through Wilmington's room that it got to me that legend, they would change the status of that legend on the East Coast. And I mean, they're talking in front of everybody, and then it gets back to me. Well, I talked to that legend, solid as they come, and he's upset about it. Should be, definitely should be. He can't be upset with me. He's not upset with me at all. We had a great conversation actually, but it's just like, hey, bro, yeah, I don't know. Wilmington should probably, I don't know, have a better sergeant at arms. Let's make sure that room is a little more friendly to speak in when they're speaking about such things. But not my club, not my problem, not my charter, not my problem, I guess. When he is rich and famous, yep, the legend will go. He got to start. Oh, yeah. No. Shout out to Breeze. Breeze, it's a one-sided thing with me and him. Like, he's he feels the way he feels and just like banned me on Splinter's channel or something the other day, like the comments and stuff. I'm not gonna partake in that game. It's stupidity, really. And I just don't want to be a part of it. I'm just doing my thing. But shout out to Breeze. I hope he does good. I still watch his stuff. I just obviously don't talk to him. Wife catches you playing in for the pink team. Big problems. Kel, the problem is the wife didn't catch him doing it. The wife filmed him doing it. And they got mad at him for God knows what, and went and told on him to his club brothers. Now, old boy shouldn't have been engaging in such deviance, but old girl got, hey, listen, you think you could trust your girl? I don't know. Mike Delcor, what's good, brother? I see you. Both of you guys are great. Start a whole new thing. Yeah, John, and I agree. Like I'm not taking nothing away from Breeze when it comes to like he's entertaining as it gets. He has great stories. He has a great personality. We just clashed, and it's run its course. I don't hold any resentment against him or want him to fail. I don't have any skin in the game to sit here and and try to badmouth him or anything. I want him to succeed, and he is succeeding. He's doing great. Now I hope he does even more and goes way further, and I hope it all works out for him. I just don't want to be on that ride anymore. 3 can keep a secret if Colin, you ain't lying. But the problem is the two guys in that Eiffel Tower that turned into a lowercase h, if you will. Uh, I don't know, man. The one not keeping the secret is the one that he was hoping would. So, yeah. Thank God you don't have any of that fake audience cheering either. No, no. Yeah. Well, you know, everybody has their thing, everybody has their gimmick. Mine's never been any of that. Uh, yeah. So, on to another story that we have that's been brewing, and that's why I was on Bob from Biker News Canada's show just now, or not on it, but in the comments, because I figured if I heard about it today, then he definitely knew about it by now, right? Because let's call it what it is. If it comes to Canadian Biker News Canada holds that down, man. He really does have his ear to the ground. He's going to hear about it before us and have a better understanding of what's going on up there. So I was watching because I had heard that Stefan Poof from Quebec, Hells Angels, has been reported missing, basically, by his loved ones. He is Marty Robert's like ace deuce. He even officiated Marty Robert's wedding. And he's been known to like be a collector and stuff like that, right? Go get them debts. Well, he's missing. And there's all kinds of wild speculation on the internet. Well, did he go into Whitseg? Did he go to the upper room? All of these things, and really, it could play out that we never know, that none of us ever know, or you know, it could come out that we all find out what happened. We'll know if he is no longer here, which is probably best case scenario for whoever, I don't know. If he crossed somebody, but worst case scenario for the family. And then best case scenario for the family is that he's in witness protection. But you would almost think there would be signs. The family, wouldn't you? Hmm, wouldn't you expect a heads up at least? I guess maybe, I don't know. I mean, if you look, um, what's his name out of Modesto? Uh, Damn it. See, my brain just reset or something like a Samsung phone. Got to sit here and reset for a second. Uh, when Randy Peaky out of Modesto did what he did, his family called me and was like, "Bro, we're horrified by this. You know, it's awful. 3 can keep a secret, keep women out of this world." Nick, very true. And Nick's got a lot going on. If you guys don't know who he is, he has a TikTok. Nick, if you want to share what your TikTok is, he was a Wilmington prospect when recently, and seen all the crazy shit in the Wilmington 81, but or heard about it. So go give him a follow on TikTok. His bike found abandoned is the odd part for sure. Well, it tells you that it wasn't him just taking off, right? Uh, I mean, also, was the bike broken down? Was it in working condition? Like, there are questions to ask, but for the most part, you find somebody's abandoned vehicle, it's nefarious, right? There's so much going on, especially in that Quebec area, They're just coming off of a tough war with all the street gangs, and the Italians got involved in that. The Haitians were involved in that. Um, and that just started to wind down. There's always other clubs out there that do not like them or do not get along with them. Um, we know it wasn't Harley, because around the same time this dude was last seen, Harley was uh, making a video where the cops had run down on him about doing burnouts or something like that. Yeah, they eat their own. Warrior. Yeah, it seems like the Hell's Angels for sure. I mean, keep it real. They've been really just doing each other in. But like like what's going on with the Fresno Sonoma case right now, none of us really know what's happening until we know what's happening, right? And with Robbie Huff's wife coming forward and saying that Robbie Huff is the one who sent Doughboy to the upper room, but I personally have been blaming it on Brian Went the whole time. Do you believe the story where you can say, hey, this guy who's gone to the upper room is the actual one who took out this guy who is in the upper room? I mean, they're giving it the college try. They've gotten this far with it, and it actually lends to what happened with Robbie Huff a little bit easier to understand why that could happen allegedly to Robbie Huff. 8 months after Doughboy was gone, so was Robbie Huff. Well, if you take out a member unsanctioned, unbeknownst to everybody, you got to pay for that somehow. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see also with Merle's case, because so when I talked to Ray from Sonoma's people, they say no, that wasn't said about Merle. It was somebody else they were talking about being in witness protection and working with the feds. And then somebody else involved in this that I don't want to say their name, but their family who were there also, they're the ones who told me that they said that Merle was in witness protection in open court. So Merle's hearing being on the record publicly uh, will help hopefully for us to at least get a little bit of like understanding of what's going on with Merle. If is he good? Is he bad? I mean, you have a case for both. I do. I'm back and forth when it comes to Merle all the time. But hearing that from a family member of somebody who is in that group, that's going through all of this, told me straight up that that's what they said in court. So yeah, was all over money. Yeah, Hurley Lawn. I mean, Hurley Lawn says it was all over money. Moneybag and Steve. It's hard to say. Now, Robbie Huff was with Doughboy in Laconia when the whole issue popped off to begin with, at least the issue that has been brought forward in court, right? It was Robbie Huff and JoJo and Doughboy. They were all three together. So would it be beyond Robbie taking it upon himself to do that? I don't know. I don't know. I do know that it shows that John and Rusty are absolutely not involved. Rayman obviously isn't involved. Brian Went is looking more innocent by the day, and Ray wasn't even involved in it, so he don't even got to worry about that really. But it gets him a new trial. John O'Neill. I miss Vegas. Yeah, I go back to Vegas here and there, but I don't know, man. I try to move on from that city. Growing up in Vegas is hard to let go of Vegas. You know, it's just a part of like your soul and being. And I was there till I was 32, 33 years old, you know? And I know when I go back to Vegas, it's going to be bad for me, right? And not bad in a bad way, bad in a, well, a good way, if you will. Like it's a fast life and it's an easy fast life for me in Vegas. And me staying out of Vegas helps me to not live that fast life. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. As hot as, yeah. Yeah, that's all over the country though. It was like 90 something in New York, uh, with humidity with the heat dome. And those New Yorkers, they ain't got the AC units like they do down south or in the desert, you know. They don't rock like that because rarely need them that bad. Ripping and running, I was doing that in the 40. Yeah, yeah. And Vegas is, especially, you know the town, you know everybody in the town. Like it's just like, bro, it's it's a different life. It's a different life. 94 in Boston, 104 with the humidity. There you go, Mike. That's crazy. Denver is hot today as well. You know, I like Denver. I like being out in the mountains. It did get hot though in the summer. I'm not gonna bullshit, but it got colder than I've ever been in my life. Was out on the plains outside of Denver, but it was like, God, negative 28 degrees or something like that one day with the wind chill. But it was still like -8 or -7 or something. But with that wind coming through, it was. I've never been that cold in my life. I didn't know that gloves, like you actually wear gloves in places like that, because if you don't, your fingers may fall off. Uh, I coming from Vegas, coming from hot places, Mississippi, Vegas, Phoenix, places like that. Even LA was never cold. Houston, never cold. Besides the one time we did have the freeze out there when we lived out there, but Florida was never. uh, Tennessee, like I hop around a lot, but I didn't know cold until I was in Denver for one winter. It was brutal. Denver is the Mile High City. Yeah, that's for sure. What's up, yo mama house? Loney, what's up? Yeah, you're new here. There's close to the same elevation, big mountain in the way. You know, I uh I had health issues obviously while I was out there too. And I remember looking at, what a pulse ox is. They put it on your finger and it tests your I don't know, the air in your blood, or some, I don't know how it goes, but a, a normal reading for pulse ox in Denver. And I asked because mine was at like 91 or something. And I go, hey, where I'm from, that means you're not getting air to your body and you're gonna die. And this lady was like, no, not up here. That's kind of normal. That's a normal pulse ox right there. I was like, geez, crazy. Oh, let's see. WTF POS phone call Gary, or Calgary. Calgary. I don't know. No, no, what do you mean? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Mike, right? Charlie Mike? That's like you're good, you're dying at 91, but not up there. For some, they're just like normal. It's crazy. At least that's what they told me. Who knows? I was in there on no insurance. I was all bad. It was all bad. Operated backhoe for McKinley Excavating out in Vegas. That will slow your roll when you go back. Hey, no doubt, no doubt. I've had jobs out in the desert before that were like I built stages out there for a little while. You know, ran uh cable through big warehouses, things like that, right? So, yeah, it gets brutal out there. OG Clubhouse is a is on Medical Center in front of the hospital. I grew up passing it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Medical Center in San Bernardino. Let's see. Trying to say Calgary is the same elevation just about as Denver, which they call the Mile High City. Is that right? See, I didn't know that. I had no clue that Calgary, Canada, is close to the same elevation as Denver. That's crazy. Hey, the more you learn. Good looking out, Breeze. I saw that block right there. Not even gonna entertain it. I've already said it. I stand where I stand. Good riding around Denver, good temperatures, dry. No, no, absolutely. And really I liked Black Canyon, which was like the casinos. It was like a little miniature Las Vegas in the middle of the mountains. It was cool as hell. Or no, what was it called? Something. It had black in the name, not Black Canyon. They just called it Up the Hill. But I love to go up there because the river that I would film from and do lives from sometimes was right there. Black Rock, maybe. Yeah. Alaska has quite a bit of oil. Well, that's what they say. When the Angels do come out there, usually do a fundraiser or like community thing. But have you been there? Where are we talking about? If you're talking about Calgary, no, I'm not allowed in Canada. Yeah, too many too many bad nights at the office for me. Calgary's the Dallas, Texas of Alberta. Okay. So they're the oil rich. They're the okay. The Cowboys with the Jets, that buy football teams and stuff like that. I got you. I got you. The Banditos in a pack of like six rolled by my building downtown Denver at like 7 a.m. today. The riding is good in Denver. Yeah, the Banditos they have like a whole. If you look on the map, and it's not just Texas. It starts in like over Mississippi, even I think. Uh, and they kind of swoop and then Texas, and they go up through Colorado and over all the way over to like Montana, over to Washington, as far as I understand. But they're out there. That is a big ass club right there. Doesn't matter who has oil. They pay us 3 times more than it's worth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've been getting gouged at the oil, at the gas station for sure. What's up, Flavor Dave? Are the Twin Outlaws in Sturgis this year? 530 nameless. This would be the perfect year for them to be in Sturgis, and I say that because they're just wrapping up the USA run for the Hells Angels in like Missouri, I think, right? Now, a lot of them are going home, especially if they're from the East Coast. A lot of the West Coast guys will probably go to Sturgis, but a lot of people that would have gone to Sturgis probably won't be going. I know a good number of members that are just heading home. So This would be the time for the Twin Outlaws to show up. Those dudes are they're crazy, and they just talk to talk. Hey, I really appreciate that 9.99 right there, Luis. Uh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. It helps a lot. Anybody that wants to help with the channel, super chats, things like that. That's dope. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, guess I gotta pay. Okay, well, you didn't have to pay for it though. Uh, but in San Bernardino, there is a very, very old clubhouse that is HA. Right, Purdue. Is there a story about that place and why do they preserve it? So you're talking about the house that's like 100 and something years old, the Purdue clubhouse, basically, and it's on a compound, and it's here. Let me see if I can even pull up a picture of it. It's very historic. But Purdue, I mean, it all started out of Purdue, right? So that's why they would preserve it. That if that answers your question right away, it's just because people don't agree with it's like mob history, right? Take that as an example. Mob history, though it's ugly and it's violent and it's very, very, you know, wrapped in crime and all of this, it's still a big piece of American history, especially in, say, the New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia area up there, right? Chicago, certain places. Vegas. Vegas was built by the mob. Just because you don't agree with what they did doesn't mean that it's not a piece of history. Because if that was the case, then our history shouldn't say much because we did the same thing when we came over here on the Mayflower and all that, to the natives. So, I mean, yeah, they should definitely, definitely preserve all of that. That's Americana right there. That's American history. All right, let's see. Let's see if we got Purdue's. Yeah, there's Purdue's clubhouse. So are you talking about this clubhouse right here? It's I don't know. If you ask me, they need to preserve it further. They need to put a bigger wall up. Not that craziness, but it means a lot to a lot of folks. It absolutely does. And you take somebody like Bo from Outlaw Archives. Um, I mean, that dude preserves this history. He digs this history, especially the older version of this history, so much that he has amassed a collection that is nobody else has a collection like Bo does. And he's never been in a club, never wanted to be in a club. He just digs the history of it. So I personally know an enforcer from Cleveland, 81, and he was a rat back in the day. Oh, yeah. So you're talking about Butch, right? I would imagine you're talking about Butch. Um, Speaking of Bo, Bo is the one who that he is curating, for the lack of a better word, that story, right? Butch's story. And I talked to Bo about doing a story on Butch, and I promised Bo that I would leave it alone for now and not do it because it's all about professional courtesy, right? And Bo's been out here, he's been doing it longer than I have. He's been doing it at a very high level, and he's been doing it at a very great level. You don't succeed by bucking the people that can help you along the way. And so I'll end up doing the story on Butch uh, when it's time, you know. But he has so much when it comes to especially that story. Uh, yeah, you're talking about a dude who's with them now. Oh, Harvester. Okay, well, get at me. The Truman Show 80 at gmail.com. Just know, I mean, I really do dig into a lot of things, and I think the things that surprise people the most is somebody will tell me something like the thing with the legendary East Coast member, and eventually, you know, if I don't have a way to get a hold of them, eventually it all comes around where I end up talking to a lot of different people. So if you bring me information, I'm always going to dig deep into it before I speak on it or try to, because I don't know, that's just how I get down. Mike 512, thanks for the great content. I really appreciate that. We got what, a 20 clip right there. That's what I'm talking about, Mike. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. He co-founded the Banditos too. Butch did. Yeah, I mean, Butch is a crazy, crazy story, but I'm respecting Bo in the fact that I've made a promise to him and I'll keep that. And whatever he does when it comes to the history, like I'll be going to Bo for more of the real story and the history of it than I'll talk to Bo more than I will anybody else when it comes to doing the story about Butch, simply because nobody has more information on it. Nobody knows more about it than Bo. Yeah. Of the Angels started here, how is it you see Mongols and Purdue as well as Vagos? Well, because they started there also. And, I mean, I want to talk out of turn, but no, I'm just going to leave that alone. Yeah, catch myself. Almost, yeah. I don't want to say something, that I shouldn't, because that's how it goes. So Aaron, okay, Aaron Anderson, yeah, yeah, it's okay. And see, and that's the difference with my mods and a lot of different mods too. Somebody makes a comment, they'll just whack the comment. If it becomes an issue, then they'll, handle it how they do. But my mods have thick skin. They don't care. I sit up here and have people say all kinds of shit. You look 38 fit. Yeah, I'm getting there. Look, 50 almost. Got that hair going. I was just talking to Bigfoot today, and he's like, bro, because, hey, check this out. I don't know if it was just part of the country or the whole country. We couldn't make phone calls today at all. I couldn't make a single phone call to anybody. Something happened, and people, it didn't matter what type of phone you had or what carrier you were using or any of that. Boom. It just, that was it, right? Nobody could use the phones in this whole area. I think in the whole state and the whole region. Um, Now, so I call Bigfoot, or I'm able to text though. I get a hold of Bigfoot and I'm like, Bigfoot, call me on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and he does, and he goes, bro, your beard's getting really gray. I was like, mother, yeah, it is. There's nothing I could do about it though. I'm not going to just ferment it. They don't make the color of hair that I have because I have all the colors of the spectrum in my beard. That's Scottish. Exclusion is the biggest gangsta online and an expert. Mm, I've met Vagos, HAs, Mongols, and it's a trip. I grew up in on Mount Vernon. It was gang related, not bikers, so I'm interested. Absolutely. And the correlation now is there's a lot of people that are coming out of street tips and joining biker tips, and it's crazy. It's insane to me, but the problem is you bring people in that already have a footing and they already got their own personal beefs. Notoriously, that is a bad plan. It's like Odessa, Texas, right? The Banditos allegedly all turn and become, Mongols, and they flip, and all of those former Banditos, now Mongols, still had issues with the Banditos, and the Banditos with them now because of what they did. And that was a, a beef that was gonna go down, how it went down, allegedly, and it had nothing to do really with the Mongols, sort of. So PayPal, next Dr. Pepper's on me. That's what's up, Joker Smoker. I really appreciate the PayPals and Cash Apps and stuff that people send too. Especially days like or weeks like these where it's like, Scar needed all new outfits. She's growing. She needs new shoes, backpack, all the. Not only do you have to buy your own child a bunch of, the erasers and glue sticks and pencils and all that, they want you to bring bags of it to the school too, which I always partake in if possible, and we did this year. Went flat broke on it, but it's good because she has everything she needs, and I had the ability to give her that because I get to talk on the internet. That's a wild thing to me still. Black Hawk. That's it. I tell you what, 101 Wild Turkey, you came about 30 minutes late on the conversation, but thank you very much. He woke up and said, Black Hawk. That's good stuff right there. Bro, what's happened to the HA in Phoenix? They closed their clubhouse. I haven't heard that. Actually, so, the Vagos are getting strong out there, stronger all the time. But the Hells Angels were also building up and getting stronger in Arizona from what I can see and what I'm being told. So, you know, I hope everybody's safe out there and nothing happens between any of them. But I could see a route where both are getting really strong in that state, and it could start to flow into problems between the two. Vagos are growing in Northern Cali. Humble, humble. You ain't lying. You ain't lying at all. But not going to speak on that yet. Uh, that's a big one right there. That's one of those big ones. I can't. It's just not the right time. Not the right time to speak on it. But good for them. Central City and Blackhawk. Yeah, yeah. 101 Wild Turkey. That's it right there, man. If you are ever in the Denver area and you need a little taste of Vegas, take your ass up there to the Black Hawk Casino. I have to really pause in the middle of that one, or else, you know, it could be clipped up and sound wrong. Are you solo parenting, Rick Scott? No. I'm. I prefer not to put my family dynamic out, uh, especially with what I do on the internet. It's you know. I'll tell you this: pinpointing me down to a place, a certain place, or around certain people or any of that is impossible. Every time somebody thinks I'm in Florida, I'm in Denver. Every time I'm in Denver, or somebody thinks I'm in Denver, I'm in Vegas, or Tennessee, or wherever, Arkansas. Like I'm all over. Sometimes even in Cali, and people would be surprised. But I try to move militant and try to keep that to a minimum of giving too much information. Sons of Silence just launched in New York. Welcome to the headlines here, Isaac. And if Isaac's saying it, there are many people that I won't take much into when they say stuff. Isaac is not one of them. Isaac is a researching monster. That dude knows. All right. Let's see. We'll see. I'll put a call in up there and we'll get some more information. There's a lot going on when it comes to New York though. And there's a lot of areas that have opened up. You take for instance, Wallkill just became a really open area. Mid Hudson just had a run in with people in public in New Rocks area. We'll see how that shakes up and shakes out. But that they're not looking very strong in that specific, region of New York. Now in other parts of New York, it's FAFO, right? You're gonna find out real quick. And even in those areas, I'm not calling them weak. I'm saying they've had incidents or shutdowns or, you know, Tom the Banshee is running around just terrorizing, and it has opened up to where more clubs have come to to partake in the area, to claim the area as theirs. So allegedly, Joker Smoker, absolutely, yes. I research and know people in the background in different clubs, allegedly. Exactly. Exactly. Odin says we're doomed. I don't know anymore either. The New Harley Deadwood is a horrible name. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And you think with that name, they are they're taking a shot at like Indian with cowboys and Indian style, like Old West nostalgia almost, trying to trick people into thinking, you know, Harley is the Cowboys and Indian is the Indians or something. I don't know. Marketing is a crazy thing, but for them to call it that, the Deadwood is just, hey man, better be a hell of a bike, bro. You talking about the color changing? Uh, yeah, humble, I am, but that's all. I'm gonna leave it at that. Hell's Angels days are over, unfortunately. Jaybird says. Um, so I definitely, the way the Hells Angels have moved and are perceived has changed a lot. Um, the club as a whole is still a bunch of strong charters. They're not going anywhere. If you think Richmond, Vallejo, Frisco, Oakland, uh, New Rock, Long Island, right? Virginia Beach, there's Cleveland even, Dago, they're not going anywhere. No matter what. Even if the club is shrinking right now, it's they're trying to balance that by bringing in Rudy Poos and just dudes that are really tearing the club apart. Sonoma's another one of those really strong charters. Uh, so they're trying to counter it by bringing in these knuckleheads who are then turning around, getting them all indicted. Some of them snitching, some of them not, and they're bringing it down. So in that manner, you might lose really heavy hitter charters to indictment, i.e., Fresno, some of the main leadership out of Sonoma and Rain Man being indicted on a bogus indictment. Basically, they were convicted on, but and then you see the weak ones, the Reading, Wallkill, Wilmington. It looks like is probably pretty faulty. You see them kind of backing out and closing down, and the members that are worth the shit end up going to other charters in the area. The members that nobody wants, well, they end up in Satan's Choice. And that's not a shot at Satan's Choice. It just seems to be, this is just what I'm seeing. So, or the pagans for that matter. I think those twins hurt the HA's feelings, Chris says. Um, I don't think, listen, I've said a lot of greasy shit about the Hells Angels over the years. Most of the time it's correct, and who I'm aiming it at is correct, because I wouldn't say it about the club on a whole or the absolute studs in the club. It's just the Garbage Pail Kids. I'm calling Garbage Pail Kids, right? Um, but you know, for the most part, I've talked to Hell's Angels that I've actually talked about on my show and laughed in the background. They really don't give a shit what the internet guy is saying. Sometimes they do. If they're faulty, it seems like they do. Uh, Usually, if they're solid, they don't give a fuck what I'm saying. Rudy Poos, yeah, yeah, Rudy Poo candy asses, exactly. The Twins be feds. I mean, there is that theory out there, and that theory does come with a little bit of provenance, where it's like, yeah, that's quite possible. I could look if I woke up tomorrow and the outlaw biker twins were being called federal agents, uh, on the news, and they were outed as federal agents, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I'll say that. New season of Vice United Gangs of America release. I don't know. I haven't really checked on it. I don't really check on it. Uh, every documentary I've ever done, somebody usually just gets a hold of me, either the producers or somebody in the background if I'm not checking my emails for that week or those weeks, which I do a lot. You know, I try to balance my life with the internet now. You know, but I don't know when I can check for you, or I'm sure Isaac can for sure. Isaac's on point when it comes to finding shit out. I believe in the same way that you're arguing with concerning angels prove they don't exist. Hmm, yeah, okay. Well, that's not my conversation. That's somebody else's. 81 is like any company. They have ups and downs, but they don't change. And there'll be another BlackBerry. Yeah, yeah. They already tried to say they were twin hole imposters. I mean, look at it like this. So, what's it called? Agent provocateurs, right? I believe I'm saying that correctly. It's when they make a bunch of signs, they show up and they rally and they shout through these speakerphones and they get everybody up in arms, and pallets of bricks just show up for no reason on the street, right? We've seen it happen over and over for the last 5 years. Do I believe that the Twin Outlaws could be agent provocateurs, where it's like, I'll tell you this, that'd be a stupid way to go down if you get caught on a wire, or somebody rolls on you, or you end up taking out the Twin Outlaws and they turn out to be feds and agent provocateurs. That's where you got to release the internet from reality. And just because somebody said something mean about you on the internet doesn't mean start plotting on them, because stupid shit happens and then you end up in prison for life on, or 30 to life on conspiracy to take out agent provocateurs. So I would leave those guys alone. I don't I don't even watch them. I don't talk to them. Civilization ended when the handkerchief went away. Odin, there's something to be said about that. That's kind of deep. That's kind of deep, actually. That's a fact. Uh, there was another little slick quote that I heard the other day, and I'm doing this, hopefully putting together a documentary on this whole internet beefing, trolling thing, where it looks like an indictment will end up coming sometime, um, between just a bunch of people. And there's this one guy, I'll just call him Jimmy, and Jimmy is a knucklehead. He's a wild man. And then I saw this quote, and it said, "The child that feels abandoned by the village will burn it to the ground to feel its warmth." And I was like, that's pretty spot on for that guy. Like, basically, you don't like me, fine, boom. And it's turned into this whole thing where he threatening people and people are threatening him, or alleged, and doxing and swatting and all of this, to where there's been 18-month federal investigation into that case, and it's just wild. And a lot of it comes, I believe, from that side, from Jimmy's side, where he just wanted the love of the village and didn't get it, so he burned it down to feel their warmth. Isaac, it takes a village to raise a child, but what if the village is Nero spicy? Right? Which could be, there are places that are like that. Shout out Elko, Nevada. Uh, Although I mean, there's good people from Elko, don't get me wrong, but on a whole, it's kind of wild. Man, this sure beats watching 8 millimeter film from way back when and hearing the same story second or third time. Hey, not just that, the voices that they used back then, boy, their broadcasting voices were off the hook. These people, that's wild. There's no such thing as twins that are outlaws. Twins can't possibly be real outlaws. All right, Harvester, you have my attention with that. Can you break that down for us? I'll bite on that comment right there. That I can kind of see a way that you could, yeah. All right, Luis. Hey, I met that dude from Pawn Stars. He was in the Vagos. Is he just a hang around? No, that was Corey's brother who passed away. Actually, shout out Corey. I commented, he has a podcast now that he's doing. And I made a comment, hey, this was a great podcast or something. And he says, hey, if you ever want to come on my podcast, come get a hold of me. And he left his email. I'm going to get a hold of Corey. I might go on Corey from Pawn Stars because we grew up in Vegas. And although like he's run the successful business of the pawn shop, that is the underworld at your door all the time. That's boosters and tweakers bringing you, grandma's ring or whatever. And his brother was in the Vagos, and it's like, okay, who and he's ripped and roared in Vegas, so he knows that life too. Like, I think it would be awesome. Yeah. Always get excited to see these lives pop up. Cool ass channel, dude. Thank you, Lieutenant Dan's legs. All right. Listen, it's almost impossible to be an outlaw if there's one of you. If there's two of you, forget about it, Harvester says. All right, there's logic in it. I mean, there would be exceptions to that, I would think, because there's brothers that have been in clubs before that have been savages, and then there's brothers who have been in clubs before that have both allegedly testified, i.e., the brothers from California that were Hell's Angels allegedly testified against Hell's Angels and then went down and became Mongols years and decades ago. Nobody could deal with twins because each twin would be more loyal to the other twin than everyone else. Harvester, I mean, I find no fault in what you're saying. That's for sure. It's sound logic. Good point. The only secret stays secret when everyone else who knows is gone. That's for sure. Rick, you ever run into anyone from Counts Customs? No, but I talked to them in the background. Like I said, Vegas is a very small town. We all pretty much know each other and know who each other is. And his builds are insane. He is so good. So good. Those cars are ridiculous that he does. Good point. The only secrets, yeah, I just read that one. You can't trust a twin because if one messes up, the other one has to have his back against the group. Okay, Harvester. So let's take it to this then. notoriously look at the son father combos in the club, and we can in just the Hell's Angels, because that's what I have more knowledge on, right? The father son combos there. Pee Wee and Brad in Vegas, right? I mean, uh, young Will and Will from Oakland, right? Uh, JTB and his son Sonny, who are currently in the club together. Todd Robles and his father. Uh, there's so many. Uh, John Nelson, who is a second generation Hells Angel himself, and Johnny, his son, is in the club right now in Sonoma. You know, and it goes on and on. Ethan and Eric, it goes on and on and on. So you would have to apply, if the twins are going to do that for each other, so would the father son combo, right? Bert Kittle and his son Herbie. Like it just goes on and on and on with the amount of father son combos have been in the club. You would have to say, Dominic, what's good, bro? It's kind of true. I was in a situation where five guys did not roll. Uh, I got to a way. They stayed solid, silent decades ago, maybe not now. It's the Tekashi 6ix9ine day and age. And it's just, it's not like it used to be. When you're trying to build up numbers and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, is what it all boils down to, right? You're going to end up bringing in a lot of bad apples. And your hope has to be that those bad apples don't end up rotting the clubhouse out. A lot of times it happens. So George and Georgie, Scotty Grow and Flash. Yeah. Uh, I mean, it just goes on, you know? And how many times do you see a member put out, but their son still be in the club, right? Uh, it's very rare. Or vice versa, where the son gets put out and the father stays in the club. It's very rare. Let's see. We got text messages going on. Sorry, guys. I'm about to wrap it up anyway. Been going for a good minute here. All right, let's see what these text messages are saying. Uh-oh. Oh, that's 11 of them. I'll get at you in the background, bro. Nobody talks, everybody walks. Morto, there is something to that too. I mean, that's obvious. Uh, Even when the government believes that they have you red-handed, a lot of cases fall apart that that they thought were open and shut cases. Look at Fresno, Sonoma, Salem right now, because nobody talks, right? But somebody gets in there, starts talking, it's game over. Basically, if you got somebody sitting on the stand pointing at you, you're screwed. No, I mean it's far outweighs any of the evidence that they have. The jury sitting and watching a witness point at you and say, that man right there did that. It's hard to overcome that. Silence makes a neighborhood. Yeah. Vagos had 24 or so who clammed up and they all walked. Mark W. Yeah, that was 23-man indictment. The Vagos when it for Jethro. And amongst other things, there was Southern Cali got hit up in that indictment for some of their dealings. Vegas all got strangled. Maniac and Johnny Bolts and all of them out of Nevada got brought up in that indictment also for a Fed that tried to set them up on a entrapment, basically. But they all stood tall together, and that's so commendable. When you got 23 dudes that are willing to take it to the box together, that's insane. Those are those are the men that these clubs are built on the backs of men like that. All right. So we'll cut you guys loose. Thank you for coming to Vegas Profile Stories. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thank you all for the super chats and super thanks and things like that. PayPal, all of that's on my channel. If anybody wants to donate, I'm not going to tell you I can't use it. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and I got the videos coming. I'm writing them as we speak. Just been busy, and I'll see you guys in a day or two.